Hello everyone, Thempire Ian here with a new Genesys points update. I almost said new cards. It's not new cards, new Genesys point update. I'm excited to talk about this one. Last time we looked at the Blazing Dominion Genesys points update, I was a little disappointed because it was only Genesys or Blazing Domain cards being hit. And that really didn't feel like enough for me. So here we have the real points update. Now that we've had a couple more YCSs, I think there's been actually several. If you look at the tournaments list here, it came out in late April, so from May to June here, we got a couple of mega challenges and such. But as you can see, not huge participation. The big ones are going to be the YCS Columbus with 175 players and Central America WCQ with 223 players. At YCS Columbus, we had a full top 32 listed, and if you look at the top 32, it's just all over the place. I don't think we really have a solidified idea of what is good currently in Genesys, and that's why it's so wide open like this. I imagine this will start to slim down as we play it more and more and get more YCSs like this to get a more competitive idea of what the format looks like. But for right now, this is actually really cool to see. I imagine it'll still stay pretty open because this format is kind of like that. It's very more engine focused than Advanced is. I wouldn't say it's perfectly engine format like a MBT might say, but it's still more engine focused than Advanced. But I will say you'll notice some things popping up over and over again. Red Dragon Archfiend, for one, has a lot of representation here, particularly at the winner, obviously, and in top 4 as well. And then down here in top 32 as well, and another one in top 32. There's tons of RDA, which is really cool for a structure deck, to be clear. You also see Radiant Typhoon popping up several times. Mimighoul pops up twice, and Cool Tune pops up. Is it just once? Just once for Cool Tune? Yeah, but if you pop on over to the Central America WCQ, you also have 2 more Cool Tune over here. Constellar Tellarknights 1? That's crazy. We don't have that deck apparently. I wish we had more information on all this, but it seems the information is a little bit spotty from this, which is unfortunate because it seems like a bigger bigger event than the YCS, right? It's got more players, so I would be really interested in seeing what happened. But we do know that there was 2 Cool Tune in the top 8, so Cool Tune's still plenty strong. Don't worry. So I wanted to start by first looking through the cool stuff from YCS Columbus. So this is just their analysis of YCS Columbus. They didn't do one for the WCQ, but whatever. Obviously they're talking about Red Dragon Archfiend, the winning strategy and landing in top 4. They're talking about specific cards here, and they're talking about Red Rain freeing you from the temptation to play Gravity Collapse. But I feel like Gravity Collapse is such a fucking annoying card. They should really get rid of it anyways. Talking about Radiant Typhoon. Talking about Regenesis Voiceless Voice. This deck is really cool. I think this deck is fun. Illusion Gate was everywhere. True. Are you gonna do anything about it? Let's see. Mimighoul, really cool. Life hack, a combat trick. It's so weird. It's so weird seeing that. Doomsday, another fun one. Cool Tune, of course, having some representation up here. And also the points updates. So that's what we're looking at. They're looking at Archfiend, Red Dragon Archfiend. They're looking at Radiant Typhoon. They're looking at Regenesis Voiceless Voice. Looking at Mimighoul. Looking at Doomsday. Looking at Cool Tune. I'm not sure how many of these are actually going to see points hits, but let's find out. And by the way, I've briefly skimmed. I didn't look at any of the actual names, but the list seemed really long to me. So there should be a lot of hits here. All right, what were people playing? Okay, so this one actually has the explanations. I'm glad they stopped doing the explanations and then the points, put it all in one article. I like this a lot. Okay, so here we go. Distribution of decks at YCS Columbus was a lot more spread out. It was, but I don't know. I know we've had concentrated formats before, but I think at this point, people are just trying to do whatever they want in Genesys. We're starting to get that experimentation phase, whereas everyone was like, this is the best deck, period, end of sentence. Let's just play this. And that led to less experimentation. And now we're having the experimentation phase, and then it'll start to consolidate again. I think is what we'll see in the near future. I could be wrong. but I think that's what we'll see in the near future. Most common decks are Red Dragon Archfiend, Monarchs, Doomsday, and Dark Lord, followed closely by a cluster of Radiant Typhoon, Clown Crew, Magnet Warriors, and Mimighoul. I don't like that I don't see Clown or Cool Tune on there. I know it wasn't heavily represented in the top cut of YCS Columbus, but you know, maybe we'll see hits to it later because it was highly represented in the WCQ top 8. I wish I had more information there, but you know, I can only do that. I also wish I had conversion numbers because I'm sure there was a lot of Cool Tune at the event because it's a good deck still. So I wonder if the Cool Tune was not converting very well in such a varied format. Anyways, because like if you don't know what to rip, right, it could be a problem. RDA and Radiant Typhoon were the most successful decks with 4 duelists each in the top 32 and 2 in the top 8. Yeah, that is kind of crazy for RDA and Radiant Typhoon to both have 4 in top 32 and 2 each in top 8. I mean, like, it doesn't sound crazy from an advanced perspective, but from this wide open format perspective, it sounds really crazy. Ours got 3 in top 32, but didn't quite make the final cut. Our clumping cards in similar groups for discussion. First, some top deck adjustments. Crimson Blade Dragon to 10. That seems reasonable. Power Vice Dragon from 5 to 6. Dark Lord Jehudi to 5. Okay. Eidos, thank God they're hitting some of the Monarch cards. It's about fucking time. Eidos to 5 is probably not enough hits. I feel like Monarch needs more hits. Just kind of, I don't need them to be huge. I just need them to be spread out across the deck. So it makes it a little harder to just dodge them. But Eidos is a fine hit as far as that goes. Mimighoul Dungeon to 5 is a really important card for Mimighoul. So having that to 5 I think is a good hit. And Radiant Typhoon Crocia to 7. Considering the other hits to Radiant Typhoon, that might... Are we finally at enough Radiant Typhoon hits? Maybe? I like these hits. I think these are all good hits. These are all cards that are really powerful and I think deserve to have points on them. So, good so far. Individual card outliers. Yeah, okay. Most played card in the tournament was Illusion Gate with 56% of all players using at least 1 copy. 1 copy isn't shocking since it can only apply its effect once per duel, but about 12% of the field had 3 in their main deck. Yeah, dog, it's a good card that you pointed at 0! Other popular removal cards include Dark Hole, 20%, Ultimate Slayer, 14%, various kaijus not named Gamma Seal, and Final Bringer of the End Times, 14%. Gamma Seal, on the other hand, being the lowest attack kaiju, is 6 times as common as the next most played kaiju. We debated whether to consider kaiju on a name-by-name basis or treat all kaiju the same. For the time being, we're considering them as individual cards, so Gamma Seal gets tagged, only Gamma Seal gets tagged, and we'll see how things shake out from there. I assume that'll be... Where are the points for that? Are we not putting points on them right now? Are we waiting? Wait, no, they're down here. Okay. They're in the other section for some fucking reason. Usage spikes, non-engine. There are a few non-engine cards that saw a massive jump in place and less database adjustment. Database. The Heralds have seen a 10 times increase in users since February's Proto YCS. Yeah, because there's 0 points! There's 0 point negates. Right, this is an increase in deck that use a lot of fairy monsters like Fluffle, Dark Lord, and Pearly, plus deck slashing and things like Keldo the Sacred Protector. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Let's talk about Dimensional Fissure. They have a whole section. We know a lot of folks have been wringing their hands over this card since Genesys launched, but its actual usage rate has been extremely low. Who cares? Who cares? Get it out of here! It's not fun! I don't care if its usage rate is low. I don't want it because it's not fun. If it's not fun, why bother? Until YCS Columbus. Oh, okay. At Columbus, the most reviled card in the format finally had an event where its representation and registration numbers started to align, though even with a massive spike, it still didn't reach 20% of all decks. Still being up in the high teens is enough to finally get on the radar and get at some points. Reaction Dimensional Shiver continues to decline in use with every event. No, you aren't planning to lower its points, but an increase isn't justified by the data either. We continue to watch every bit of data on these 2 cards very closely. Stop! Is it fun? I don't care about the data. Is it fun? Jesus Christ. Finally, despite its point increase in March, the usage in Nibiru went up by about 1/3, and its users were very successful, so Nibiru's cost will tick up again. I think that's probably for the best. All right, we got Book of Eclipse going from 3 to 4. Does that matter? A little bit. Book of Moon going from 4 to 3. This is correct, actually. Now that I see that, I understand this. It doesn't make any goddamn sense for Book of Eclipse to be less points than Book of Moon. Thank you for fixing that. Just swap those two. I agree. Dimensional Fissure from 0 to 10. To 10. Dude, this shit should be 100. Fuck you. Gamma Seal Deceit. This is what I've been saying about... Oops, sorry for bumping the microphone. This is what I've been saying about the way that Genesys format sees Dimensional Fissure. They see the banished decks as a strategy that you can curtail rather like or like can be good or bad rather than a floodgate that needs to be removed from the format. They removed most of the floodgates, right? But they don't see the banish strategy as a floodgate. They see it as a strategy. So they're treating it entirely differently. And that's just fucking stupid. It's just fucking stupid. I don't know what other way to put it. I don't have any other way to put it. It's just fucking stupid. Gamma Seal to 3, that's probably correct. I think that's probably the right place to put. Like, I think you could probably put some of the other kaijus at 1, but like Gamma Seal to 3, I think is the one that makes the most sense. Illusion Gate to 10. Why wasn't this done earlier? Shared Ride to 1. Shared Ride to 1. Does that get it out of the format? Artifact Lancia to 1. Another one that is like, why is this in the format at all? The Heralds to 3 and 2 and 1. Oh, we even hit the purple light. That's good. I think 3, 2, and 1 is actually just about right for those. I don't know if 1 point gets rid of Shared Ride, but it might, because it's not that good. Fuelos going to 8 is good, I think. I think the Fuelos is such a good card. It needs to be higher points, and Nibiru going to 8 as well looks good to me. I like a lot of these points. I don't like this one. I'm not sure I like this one either, but I don't know if it's a huge deal right now. We'll see. I think otherwise I kind of like these increases. I just don't like the reasoning, because the reasoning fucking sucks, because they're not actually caring. They don't care about whether the format's fun. They care about whether the data says it's being played too much. And I just think that's totally ass backwards. Another look at Blazing Dominion. We initially costed Power Vice Dragon aggressively after considering that RDA had already had almost half its points tied up in the extra deck, and was going to get at least one more extra deck monster in the 10-15 point range, possibly 2. After watching the deck storm through the white 6 like the Master Faster himself, looking at the numbers, Power Vice Dragon was slightly low. We need to make RDA pay for Crimson Blade Dragon as well. Okay, we already established that. Why are we covering it again here? We overcosted Clown Crew fields and their spells and left Flare at 0 to ensure players could at least try the deck out. Had a pretty good debut despite not landing any duelists in the top 8. Some players have concerns about the Wicked Avatar being an achievable summon in this deck, which we can understand. However, players have been trying to make Wicked Avatar work on and off for nearly 20 years now. Comes a day when Wicked Avatar is able to replicate the past success of Destiny Hero Plasma, it could receive the same treatment. I would argue you probably want to deal with that before it happens, but whatever. Princess Dracena saw more play than we thought she would, which is nice, but only one player rolled up with an Earth Machine strategy, which was less nice. Miracle Ejector escaped containment very quickly. It's unfortunate for Hero fans, but it's certainly not the first time in the game's history something like this has happened. Speaking of Miracle Ejector, it falls under this category, Shared Engines and Best in Slots. Cards that were intended for a specific deck but broke containment and are seeing a lot of play beyond their themes. This is also where the basic Cool Toon monsters land now that they become an engine, cards in multiple other synchro strategies, in addition to their own. Okay, the Cool Toons are going to be here. Spell card Soul Exchange is doing its best impression of super polymerization across multiple decks. Man, that's really funny. That's really funny to hear. The Ixies decks have also become extremely efficient at spitting out F-Zeros, and the Synchro decks are trending towards the generic use of Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Chengying. Okay, so what are we going to hit here? We're hitting Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum ± to 6. That's Magnet Binding to 5 as well. That makes complete sense. The Magnet shit did need to be hit a little bit. Miracle Ejector to 5. That also makes sense. A good card. Earthbound Prisoner Stone Sweeper to 5. Sucks for fans of the Earthbound Prisoner deck, which I am one, but I haven't been playing it because the runic cards aren't really available to use the same way. So, whatever. Kelda the Sacred Protector to 2. Makes sense to me. Cool Tune Clip to 7, Cool Tune Q to 7, Cool Tune Mix to 5, Cool Tune Rico to 5. Thank you. I appreciate any hits to Cool Tune because I just don't like the way the deck plays. Thank you. Heavy Polymerization to 3. That's really funny. Mudora to 2 as well. Spell Card Soul Exchange to 13. I never thought I would see that. I never thought I would see Spell Card Soul Exchange to 13. Sure. Chenging to 10. That actually makes a ton of sense. Chenging is a fucking powerful card. Zaylin to 12. That makes sense. Zaylin's a really good card. It should probably be more. It should probably be 20. Utopic Draco Future to 25. Yeah. Utopic Future Zexal to 5 I don't think is necessary, but it's a decent card and you can make it. Just like on its own. So, whatever. I see pointing that as well. Shenanigans. For as long as SJC YCS events have existed, there's always been at least one person in the room trying to assemble Exodia, and this one is no different. Those who come after will have a tougher time. The other contentious strategy was the hero deck that had Elemental Hero Cosmo Neos filling the same role as Hot Dread Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. This is an interesting case because Cosmo Neos isn't being cheated out like King Calamity usually was. The whole point of the hero combo is to get the correct materials engraved and then use favorite contact to fuse them. We'll price Cosmo Neos the same as King Calamity because of their similar effects, but favorite contact does not get points at this time. Okay. Alright, if you say so, 21 points. 21? 21? To Elemental Hero Cosmo Neos. That doesn't seem right to me, but whatever. Whatever. Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Primal to 5. Yeah. Ixchel to 6, 7. 6, 7? 21, 6, 7? What? Infernoid Evil to 7. Sure. Magical Mallet to 3. Yeah. Yeah, man. Subspace Battle to 5. Chicken Game to 10. Upstart Goblin to 10. Into the Void to 10. Stop playing Exodia! We don't want you to play Exodia! Stop playing Exodia! Decks almost no one registered. Plenty of people were running Sword Soul Sovereign's Chengying as a generic Synchro, but no one was actually playing Sword Soul as a deck, so we've done a little bit of rebalance on that theme. Lyrilisk keeps showing up as an engine rather than a distinct strategy, so we move some of the points around as well. Lyrilisk pointed. I can't fucking believe that. Union Hanger has dropped again, as well as, and there's a bunch more. There's been an ongoing culling of the points from the original launch list, but we're being cautious because we don't want to insert a poison pill in the format by accident. Culling Pass is more aggressive though, so we're being, or this Culling Pass is more aggressive though, so we're being aggressively cautious. Okay, sure. All right, so here's like the big ones for pet deckers. Big Welcome Labyrinth to 15. Change of Heart to 3. That one's not part of an archetype, so I don't know what's going on there. Crystalline Inclusion to 10. Sylphidor to 3, or to 20, rather. I wish it was to 10. Should be to 10. This deck's not that good. I don't think it needs to have this many points. But again, aggressively cautious. I think that's reasonable. Darkened Evaporation Dragon to 0. Danglong to 10. Wow. Danglong to 10. I've tried to make stuff work with Danglong in like advanced before. I just don't know that the game is slow enough for Danglong to do its thing anymore. Diagram to 10. Interesting. Dragon Maid Tiding to 1. Thank God. I was worried that we were going to get that OCG list over here, and seeing them take away points from Dragon Maid instead of giving Dragon Maid more points is really refreshing, because that points list from the OCG was fucking insane. Dragon's Light and Darkness to 1. Duality to 1. Fuck it, Duality to 0. Who gives a shit? Philia Regis to 7. Fire King Courtier Ultconix to 15. Cool for Fire King. Foolish Burial to 25. Ooh, the Forbiddens to 1. This is exactly where I want the Forbiddens to be, is at 1 point each. That's really cool. I like that change a lot. Gigantic Sprite to 7. Okay, all right, Sprite. The people have been experimenting with just like, Ixie Sprite. You can play Sprite without the links and just do an Ixie strategy. People have been experimenting with this. This is a good thing for that. Glow Up Bulb from 21 to 15. Okay, I feel like it was at 21 for a specific reason, but sure. Big Gabanga to 12. Guardian Chimera to 20. Huh. Infinite Impermanence to 11. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to 0. Whoa. What? Whoa, what? I mean, they made Gamma Seal 3 points, but you could just not play Gamma Seal. You could play Kamungus instead. What? Weird. Iron Thunder to 3. Bird Call to 5, and then 3 to Sapphire Swallow and 3 to Turquoise Warbler, but oh, but you do want Sapphire Swallow and Turquoise Warbler. I guess, which one's which again? Sapphire Swallow is the blue one, but Turquoise also sounds blue. Which one was Turquoise? Now I'm confused on my Lyra lists. Let's head over to Dueling Nexus so I can, man, it's been a while since I played Lyra List, huh? Did I have a list in here already? I might. It'd probably be easier if I just went into a random list. Okay, I don't have one, it looks like. Let's just go into a random Speedroid list and look at Lyra Lusk. Okay, Turquoise is this one, the green one. That's not Turquoise, but okay. Yeah, I know Sapphire Swallow. This one's important, but was this one a 2 of? I don't remember. I mean, Lyralist Turquoise Warbler is a 3 of, but I think Sapphire Swallow might have been a 2 of. So if it's 3, that's 9, and then 6 is 15, which makes up the exact amount of points lost by Bird Call. Well, no, because you want to play 3 Bird Call too, so it makes up the points lost from 1 Bird Call, but you still get to play 2 more Bird Calls, which are also at 5 points. So but it's still that's still freeing up 30 points in the Lyralist deck. Pretty cool. Magician Souls to 10, I think, is actually really cool. Sigma to 5, Metamorphosis to 3. I don't like Metamorphosis being in the format. I can get this out of here. It's a little stronger than Duality. Monster Reborn to 3. That's fucking, yeah. Nashonite to 13. Cool. Necro Valley from 40 to 25. Dude, don't make Necro Valley playable. Do not make Necro Valley playable. I don't want to play against Necro Valley. Nightmare Throne to 13. Phantom of Yubel up to 88. Yeah, get this shit out of here. Nightmare Throne is fine. It's a cool card. It should be really low points. Get fucking Phantom of Yubel out of here. Alright, Pot of Desires to 15. Oh. More draw power. Premature Burial to 2. Okay. Helps to Doomsy. Airlifter to 3. Good. Preventer to 7. Good. And Rescue Ace slowly getting its points back. Return from a different dimension to 20. That's concerning. That's a little concerning. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that one. Return to the Dragon Lords to 3. Ritual. I don't think it'd be it's not gonna be meta. It's just you could put this to 0 and it wouldn't be meta. But I don't think it would be very fun if it happens to resolve. Return to the Dragon Lords to 3. Ritual Beast Tamer Elder to 3. Shin Smoke Signal to 20. Snatch Shield to 2. Sword Soul to 7. Emergence to 7. Chi Shao to 10. Long One to 1. That's still probably too many points on Sword Soul. Hyper Librarian to 20. Okay. Tinny Spirit to Shunna to 0. Okay. Union Hanger to 5. Good. Lulu, Virtual World Lulu to 0 from 3, which is okay, sure. Welcome Labyrinth to 15. All right. Why did it take so long to get a database point up? I don't want data. I don't care about database. I want fucking actual play based. I want it to be fun. I want it to be fun. I want it to be based on fun. We want to base changes entirely off of data from OTS events. Players use these events to experiment with new strategies, practice for big events, and just generally mess around and have a good time. We think that changing things up before there's been even a chance to try out what you've been working out of the big event will leave a bad taste in your mouth. If you're players, we certainly wouldn't want to have a start of our tournament preparation based entirely on the results of locals. We do think that as long as there was at least one big event, it's fair game, even if we couldn't personally attend that event. Couldn't personally attend that event? Oh, as in you couldn't attend that event to play your stupid deck. I don't feel like that's how most people actually feel, but whatever. Most people are not thinking that outside themselves, right? They're they will just be I didn't get to try my thing. You can't. Okay. There's an unusually long amount of time between major Genesys events this time around, largely because there was no Genesys main events at the Team YCSs, and the March-April slate were all team events. Shouldn't be an issue anymore now that the big top events have begun. In the future, there'll be plenty of months where there are multiple YCS events and Genesys regionals between adjustments, so we can be more precise. Next point update will coincide with the Chaos Origins premiere events. Will include cards introduced in Chaos Origins and Battles of Legend Glorious Gallery. Don't forget, each WCQ in Americas has an open, blah, blah, blah. I mean, okay. I mean, I like a lot of the hits. The thing about data-driven points lists is that things that are too powerful will tend to see more play. But things that are not too powerful will also tend to see a lot of play if they're just good. If they're good cards, solid good cards, they will also see play and don't necessarily need to be adjusted, right? So the thing, the data-driven like points updates are, you know, a broken clock that'll hit, like, it's like a broken clock that has a bunch of hands, so it'll hit a bunch of times. So it'll do stuff that makes sense. And like, they're also doing things that are clearly not data-driven, right? They're like, here's Cosmoneos, that's unfun. You're hitting it to 21 because of that. Like, that's not data-driven, right? They say at least one person in the room trying to do this bullshit, but then like when it comes to shit like Dimensional Fissure, they're like, well, the data says it's not doing it, like, but it's just not fun. It's just not fun. It's just not fun to play against. It leads to bad moments. It leads to feel bad moments, and so it's very clear that they understand that, but they just don't care. I don't know what it is. They care about it here. They care about it right here. They don't want you to be doing Exodia because it's unfun. They don't want you to be doing Cosmoneos, lock, because it's not fun. Turn skip kind of shit. It's not fun. But then they're like, well, Dimensional Fissure, everyone says is not fun. However, our data shows that nobody's playing it, so it actually is fun. It's actually fine. But now people are playing it, so it's perhaps not fine. But we're only not fine enough to get it 10 points. And it reminds me of what LC was saying in the video we watched on the stream, Yu-Gi-Oh! Tuesday, every Tuesday on my Twitch, Zempyrean, what LC was saying in that video, which is that there's no design goal for Genesys. It's I mean, maybe Simo, rest in peace, was right. Maybe it is kind of vibes based. You've got this data based thing. It's like we use the data, but then also sometimes we just hit things that we personally don't like, but we don't listen to we listen to our players enough to know that they hate Dimensional Fissure, but we're never going to hit it unless it's the data says to. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. I don't understand it. I just don't understand the logic behind it. Like, even like, I want to be like, oh, it's just because it's all data driven. They're just doing all data driven. That's why it's like it's hitting some things and that's correct, and it's hitting things that aren't correct, and it's that kind of thing. It's just all data driven, right? I want to be like that. But then you see things that clearly aren't. You see the things that clearly aren't data driven right here. Right? Just like this is the non-data driven, we're hitting these things because we don't like them section. So like, which is it? Are we doing data driven? Are we doing, making the format fun? And it seems to be that we're just kind of stopping certain unfun things. But there must be someone on the staff who really likes banishing strategies or something. There must be someone on the staff that's a really big Exorcister fan or something. Someone who really fucking loves Dimensional Fissure. Someone who really fucking loves Dimension Shifter. I don't know. They just don't see it the same way as we do. There's a fundamental disconnect in the way the people running Genesys format see Dimensional Fissure and the way we see it. But other than that, I really don't like the data-driven stuff. Some of the hits, I'm like, yeah, those are good hits. I wish you were making them for a different reason, right? I wish you were making them because they're the right hits to make, and not because the data told you they're the right hits to make. I don't know. So like I'm of two minds. Like in trying to wrap up this video with like my final thoughts on the list, I'm of two minds. I like a lot of the changes on this list. I think a lot of the changes on this list are good changes. Changes that needed to be made, especially like up in here. There's a lot up in here that I think needed to be made. But there's also ones that shouldn't have been made. You should not be letting Necro Valley into the format. You should not be letting Necro Valley into the format. I don't think Metamorphosis should be being let into the format more. Even if it never sees play, I don't think it's fun to play against. Was there something they hit that I didn't like that they hit it? I don't think so. I think there's some things they hit that I think they could hit more, like Shared Ride and Lancia, and of course Dimensional Fissure, but I don't think there's anything they hit where I'm like, you shouldn't have hit that. Every hit I see, I'm like, yeah, that's a reasonable hit. But like, I also want there to be a lot more hits in general. I think the format would be a lot more interesting if a lot more cards had very minor points hits to them. And like a lot of cards that are already pointed had more points to them to match that change. But, you know, that's a personal thing. They're balancing the format the way they want to be balanced. I think a lot of this stuff makes sense. But there's little things here and there where it's just like, well, the data told us that we can let Necro Valley off the list because nobody's playing it. And we make it, you know, it's like, I don't want to play against Necro Valley. I don't want to play against the Necro Valley deck. Have you ever played against Gravekeeper? It's not fun. And if it's not fun, why bother? That is the biggest problem that Genesys is going to have. That Genesys already has a harder buy-in than Advanced because it's not Advanced, right? Yu-Gi-Oh has had one format for so long, it is very hard to get Yu-Gi-Oh players to consider doing an alt format. Especially one run by Konami who makes the same mistakes as Advanced format. So if you have things that create unfun games, they're going to feel, even if theoretically they would feel better than Advanced because it's a better format, in my opinion, they're going to feel worse because this is the format that should have fixed those problems, right? Advanced format, we know it has problems. It's always had problems. It's going to have problems. But we're coming to Genesys format to avoid those problems. Otherwise, why are we here? Again, if it's not fun, why bother? So people will just leave. And I think that's going to be a huge problem going forward as Genesys continues to use data-based points list. They will continue to hit things in a way that creates unfun moments that are going to slowly turn off players one by one. It's not going to be a fast thing. It's going to be a slow process whereby people keep running into little unfun moments created by things being removed from the list or not being hit on the list hard enough because the data says not to, or to remove them because of what the data says. And that's going to be the nail in the coffin for Genesys for at some point. It's going to be a slow killing nail. It's going to be just like a nail driven into your head rather than a nail in the coffin, I suppose. But it is going to kill it eventually if they don't stop doing this. You have to consider shenanigans. You have to consider whether it's fun. This is my favorite section of the list because it's the only one based not on play data, but on what's fun. All right. I think that's it for me. I don't have anything else to say about this. Like I said, a lot of good hits, some frustrating hits, and just a frustrating philosophy that's also very confused, seemingly. But, that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I'll see what I think about what you think. And then you can see what you think about what I think about what you think. And then... well, you know the rest. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. After I stopped recording, I realized I didn't actually say what I think how this will impact the format, which seems like an important thing to mention. I was just too upset about this, the way they're handling it, and the way they fucking called us hand wringers for being worried about an unfun card just because it sees doesn't see a lot of play. But whatever. As for like what I think this will impact the format, I don't think it will. I don't think it will impact the format very much. Monarch's hits aren't enough to stop it. RDA's hits aren't enough to stop it. It's like just slightly lowers their power level. Cool Tunes hits are enough to like maybe finally force them out of the meta and into like a rogue deck status. I think that's probably likely. But no hit the Synchro Overtake is a little weird. So we end up with like the most powerful card in the deck not being hit, and also like at this point anyways, like with no points on it at all. One of the most powerful cards in the deck, no points at all. And also it's very powerful in a bunch of other synchro decks, so they're just going to be playing at full power. The hits to the Heralds are correct, but they don't really change much. The hits, again, the hits to the Red Dragon Archfiend doesn't really mean much. The Monarch hits, the Mimigold hit doesn't really mean much. The Radiant Typhoon hit might like also push Radiant Typhoon out of the meta and into a rogue deck status, but Radiant Typhoon's a stronger deck than Cool Tune at this point, I would say, with how many hits Cool Tune has. So maybe not. I'm not exactly sure on that. And none of the unhits are enough to put any of those decks anywhere near where everyone else is, I feel like. So what have we changed? Effectively nothing. But I think the format was in an interesting place, and we hadn't really fully solved it yet either. So I think I'm generally fine with that. I just wish we were hitting some more of the the outlying problems, like Dimensional Fissure and stuff like that, and hitting them harder than we are currently. That's my main problem. It's really just the philosophy is my main problem, not the actual gameplay that we're having so far, which is for the most part good, except for, some feel bad moments, which, as I said, are going to slowly kill the game. Anyways, thanks for this little diversion at the end here, just to quickly recap on what I think. Again, I don't think much changes from here. The format will look very similar to how it looked before, but with a couple of differences here and there. That's about it, I think. All right, bye for real this time. See ya in the next one. Bye. Hey there, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I got a lot more for you if you want them. Just hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications. I'd also appreciate if you left me a like and a comment and maybe shared the video around with your friends. You can also follow me on all the usual social media sites and find my other YouTube channels and Twitch channel by checking out my website in the description below for all those links. My videos are funded by my patrons, Ko-fi subscribers, and YouTube members whose names you'll see scrolling by in these credits here. For just $1 a month, you too can find yourself here, trapped in my end screen for all eternity, among other benefits. In particular, I'd like to thank Jeremy Coatney, Frog Prince Michael, Beastsman, Beelzis, Fleakill, Fire Mizumi, Golden Nova, Haru Hayes, Squish, and the almighty Ferret Lord. A big thanks to all my other patrons and to my little community as a whole. Remember to be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and have a wonderful, whatever time it is for you. Bye!